I considered you a mentor, even though we weren't mentoring directly yet. So I considered you and spoke of you as a mentor. And hey, this guy has thousands of units under his portfolio, so I'm able to leverage that track record, and that's where I'm getting my education from. Deals, free and clear, and they were super conservative, but I was able to show them, worst case scenario, through using that analyzer tool, almost like, hey, here's what we're going to have it under contract for. Here's worst case scenario. Here's worst case scenario. We're breaking even. Here's best case scenario. You're crushing your returns of these single family deals that you're doing, and you're not having to deal with the headaches of it. So finally had convinced him to do it. And once I had that, I knew that I was good to go with it. But, I wasn't sure that I was going to have that money, but I knew if I got this deal under contract for what I wanted to do, it's going to be a good deal. And I was just going to go through my phone book and just call everyone I knew and just try to put it together. But I had that conversation with him as well. So there was a couple of different sources, but I had been talking about it a little bit as I was going to these events and, getting my education on it.
So you were talking about other people about real estate. It wasn't the first time you heard, but when you had a live deal, was that like literally the first time you asked someone to invest?
Yeah, that was the first time, so the single family was my life savings of the time, was for that. And for that was my first time asking.
You were kind of warming it up. It wasn't just a cold deal. Here you go. I got one. Who wants to get in? You had a few conversations prior, and if you guys want to take it a step further out there, you make like a fake package of a deal that might look like the deal that you're going to buy. And you take that and shop it around to get people interested. But to just go cold out there, like some people think, oh, I just find the deal and the money comes. It's not true. You got to have some relationships out there.
That's right.
You still had relationships in your phone book to call.
That's right. That's right. Just like Jordan Harbinger, you got to dig the well before you're thirsty. I'm curious, Brian, how many people did you call? Like a handful?
I was ready. So I hadn't actually called anyone before that. I had people ready to call. I knew I was going to have to call on that first deal. I was going to go through the list of people that I had. I had about 20 people that I knew were, higher income earners and people that I had conversations with before. But luckily, after a lot of conversation, it wasn't cold. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm buying multifamily real estate now. So it was, hey, this is what I'm looking at. I'm going to these seminars. I'm doing these courses. I'm talking to these other people. I considered you a mentor, even though we weren't mentoring directly yet. So I considered you and spoke of you as a mentor. And hey, this guy has thousands of units under his portfolio, so I'm able to leverage that track record, and that's where I'm getting my education from.
To Garrett's point, though, I mean, it was conversations you've had weeks, possibly months before. So when you made that call, they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been it doesn't take long to do a first deal." So that's pretty cool. So on that first deal, how much money did you raise for that first one?
$125,000.
All right, that's awesome. And how much was the actual property?
It was $500,000.
All right, so $500,000. That's pretty cool. Now your second one, how big was that one? How'd you raise you for your second one?
Yeah, so my second one was a 20 unit deal, and that was about $1 million, just over $1 million purchase price. Mm-hmm. And I was actually able to convince the seller to carry back 20% note. So that was from the seller on that one.
That's pretty cool. You didn't have to raise any capital for that. What about your third? How much capital did you raise for that?
So my third deal was 52 unit deal, and that was raised. It was $2.5 million purchase price. Raised about $700,000 for that one. $750,000.
So what did you do to go from 125 to essentially 750? It's a pretty big jump there.
Yeah. So I mean, as I'm networking, looking for deals, I'm networking with people that are looking to get into real estate. So I actually partnered with a property manager, a commercial broker, and another family member. So these were people still in my inner circle. I hadn't quite started the marketing train that I have now, but it was just starting those conversations with people that I'm talking about real estate with.
And you can raise a considerable amount of money, as you have done, with one-on-one conversations like you've done. At what point did you start feeling like you need to do something different in order to scale this business? And when did you first become aware that you actually wanted to scale a business? Like, what did that look like?
I think from the beginning, I knew that I wanted to continue to scale, but that looked a lot different than what it is now. That was piecing together 50 unit deal here, 12 unit there. I think when I had a couple of units under my ownership, couple hundred units, with just me, my father-in-law now, and a couple other the property manager, commercial broker. I knew that one, there was only, so I'm doing this in my backyard. There's only so much inventory in my backyard of Arkansas. I'm here in Northwest Arkansas. There's not a lot of units here. And I knew that I was going to have to scale up outside of my market. And I knew I was eventually going to run out of, friends and family to do that. So, going to these events, seeing these other people with hundreds and hundreds, thousands of units, it's something where it's not just something you're talking about. You can look and see and look at that person. And, okay, if that person's doing it, why wouldn't I be able to do it? So I had this track record of doing these deals by myself and putting these deals together. I knew that I had something going. I've seen every part of the deal, and now I can really use that to scale up. I can see all parts of the deal, but I knew that I was going to have to go outside of my market, and two, go outside of my friends and family if I really wanted to build a business.
When I was I was selling knives. This is because you mentioned sales in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, we were selling a product called Cutco, which I now gift to people.
Yeah. He's got a gift from a commercial broker, Cutco knife.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great gift. So people wouldn't go very far in that business if they couldn't get outside of their friends and family. So they had to constantly be asking for references outside of that. And that was, I was able to make that last for like 5 years. And so just asking for future references. But in our business, part of it is it's either getting out there on podcasts, it's getting to events and meeting people. It's whatever form of that. You have to be able to get outside of that friends and family circle, be able to raise money efficiently. And so you started to kind of scale up even like a platform. Talk to us about how you did that.
Yeah. So and that is good experience too. The Cutco, that I'm sure that sales experience has taught you
things right here.
Yeah. It's you use that every day, and some of that stuff, it's part of your foundation. I think each level is part of your foundation to continue to level up. But for me, it was back to what I knew, okay, I know Michael, and not to love on him too much, but I could tell he was authentic, and I could tell he knew what he was doing. He's kind of a nerded out a little bit, and he's also got so I knew that I trusted Michael. So I was familiar with the Platform Builders program. So my wife, she's got a background in marketing. And one of my goals was to retire her from real estate, to let her retire. So, for me, I wasn't like, man, I hate my job and I got to get out of here. Some people, that is a thing. And for me, it was, the generational wealth, and two, for her to have her own business and be able to retire. So that's when we signed up for the Platform Builders program. So I had my wife kind of take the lead on that with her background in marketing, but I joined it with her, the two of us. So that was huge, instrumental for us. Before that, I didn't even have a business card. Before that, I built a portfolio of about a couple hundred units with no business card or no website or anything like that. So, she took the lead on that. We developed the website, the lead magnet, got booked on a bunch of podcasts. So that really started the marketing material, creating business social media pages, which was important. So I wasn't really looking at that aspect of the business. I was focused on getting deals done, so that's something I could have done more simultaneously as I was doing deals from the beginning. But that was in about 2020 when we made the decision to really grow our business to the next level and join the Platform Builders program.
It's so common. Real estate investors think they're in a real estate investing business, and maybe in the beginning you are, but when you get to a certain point, like you with a couple hundred units, you start shifting from a real estate investing business and you're becoming a fund manager, right? And as a fund manager, you get into marketing and sales. You have to invest in your business to generate more leads that leads to investing dollars, right? And so now you're essentially, a marketing business. So you have now this website, you have a lead magnet, which is basically a fancy word for saying it's a free download. And you do that to capture leads. And then people basically book a call with you. You want people to find you through your brand and book a call with you. And so what have you done? So you have this core platform, all these automations that do a bunch of stuff so that leads are downloading your free magnet and you're getting in the scheduled call. And so you've done all that. And then what did you decide to do with regards to content and channels? Did you focus on a particular channel for your content, or what did you do there?
Yeah. So in the beginning, my focus was podcast, just getting out and telling my story. I had an interesting story about, building up this portfolio just by myself and with some friends and family. So that was my main focus. We built out Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, and even created a YouTube page. So we hired one of the guys, the YouTube brand content guys that came and spoke at one of the Platform Builders events. And we kind of went off with the YouTube videos, but now the focus has been more Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But we do have a YouTube page. I think it's important. I think it's important to have, some sort of presence on each of the platforms. But like you mentioned, focus on 2 or 3 that you like doing. So for us, it was, podcast, Facebook, LinkedIn.